Hey Pisces, what's going on? It's your girl D here with your October astrology read. Now this is going to be an astrology read, meaning I'm reading the planetary alignments and where they are based on Pisces ascendant and Pisces sun signs. So please take this reading as it resonates. Take what resonates out of it, because we all have Pisces in our chart. So maybe all of it won't resonate. Maybe 10% of it will resonate. But take what does, leave the rest. If you would like a personal, you know my information's in the box below the video. And feel free to subscribe to this channel or my other channel called The Many Styles of Tarot, and the link for that is in the box below as well. Let's talk about it, Pisces. There's a lot of change going on in the month of October. You know, we're transitioning in the 3D realm from summer to fall, right? And in the spiritual realm, things are transitioning as well. And we can sense that and feel that, but we also know it's going on because of the fact that all of these planets are either coming out of retrograde, some are going in, but in between we got full moons, we got lunar eclipses, we got partial solar eclipses, all between now, the date of this recording, which is like, what, the 4th? I believe today's the 3rd. No, today's the 3rd of October up until the 11th of November, when we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. A lot of changes going on. Let's get right into it. Now, I'm just going to go from house to house, okay? Because it may make a little bit sense to you. Some of the readings I did for the other signs, I might have started from the date, you know, the first date of the first change to the final date at the end of the month and what was going on that way. But we'll try it this way with you and see what comes through. So in your first house, we got Neptune there, right? And Neptune is your ruling planet, and it's in retrograde. Now, to me, Neptune, when it's in retrograde, it just represents an energy of taking off the rose-colored glasses, because Neptune is all about illusions. It's all about mystery. When I think of, I don't know why, I understand why the magician is associated with Mercury, but it's also associated with Neptune to me. And let me tell you why. For those of you who are astrologically inclined, this is my view on things, and it's just simply this. It's nothing that's going to be long and drawn out. It's just that, Neptune rules Pisces. The opposite polarity of Pisces is Virgo, and Virgo is ruled by the Mercury energy. Mercury is known as the magician. So when we talk about Neptune energy, Neptune, is the energy of, when you talk about the magician energy and Mercury, and we'll talk about Mercury in a minute, because that's coming out of retrograde, or it came out on the 2nd, but we're still in the post-shadow period for another week and a half or so. But Mercury is like Mercury is like a magician because it creates illusions. It creates fantasy. It's where fantasy comes from, the idea of fantasy, the ideal of imagination, the creative imagination. Anything being possible, dreaming it into being. That's all Neptunian energy. So sometimes, those things that we think about, the imagination, or what flows within that, can be things that are just that. It's that of the imagination. It's not reality. But you can paint an illusion to make someone believe, if they really want to, that it's something different. So this is where this Neptune energy comes from. And when it's in retrograde, it's a matter of now you see through the illusion. It's like you go to see a magic show and the magician is doing all these tricks and you're like, ooh, ah. But you could go behind stage and you can look and you can see how he's doing all of the tricks. That's what Neptune retrograde is. You going behind the stage, behind the scenes, seeing people for who they really are, because your Neptunian Piscean energy is on fleek right now. Okay, I know that's old school. Forgive me for being corny, but I'm trying to stress the point to you about your intuition when Neptune is in retrograde in your first house, which is the planet that is of you, okay? So I wish I knew some Pisces, or somebody who had a strong Pisces placement and I knew it, because I would love to have a chat with you. But yeah, your first house is all about you standing your ground, you seeing things for what they really are. Also, you making sure that you're transparent to the people that you're dealing with. It's important that you do that, because sometimes people could be treating you in a manner in which could be that you're giving off some type of subconscious or unconscious vibration. that they're gravitating to, and you may not even understand why they're treating you that way. So you want to make sure you're being transparent and clear in your communication as well. And if you haven't, then people will be seeing, they'll be seeing things in reference to you, seeing you a bit more clearly and, seeing behind the stage that you have. All right. So that's what's going on with you in reference to, how you connect with people, because your first house is how you interact with people, how you move about with people. Now, your second house, that's all about your self-esteem, your self-worth. It's all about your money-making potential, real estate, security, loyalty, appreciation, love. All of these things marinate in the second house, all of these energies. We got Saturn there, and Saturn is going direct on October 23rd, right? That's your Aquarius house. So the way you usually react with any energy here, the way it manifests itself, if it's coming from people, you may respond in a very Aquarian type way, or if someone wants you to respond to them, the way for them to get a response out of you would be to come at you in a very Aquarian type way, a very unique, original, different, rebels against the status quo of what is popular. It could be infamous at times, a renegade, very intelligent, very detached and aloof to a certain extent. So, people, you may be drawn to that energy, all right, or that type of energy could be what you embody. But with Saturn there, Saturn is a planet of restrictions. It's a planet of constrictions. I just think of, holding something and keeping it in place. It's like the Saturn energy. And when it's in retrograde, it's a matter of what do I need to let go of. Saturn also rules time, right? So it's like, okay, what have I outgrown? What is it time to change? So you've had time to consider that. And so now Saturn going direct, it's a new cycle, because Saturn also deals with karma. So there could have been some past life karma. A lot of us are in the collective, many of us are closing out karmic cycles. A lot of us are, okay? But there's even less of us who are aware of it. So, I'm talking to those who are aware. You are now starting a new path, a new journey to self-love, self-discovery. I feel like a lot of you realize that you have been maybe the people who are around you, people, places, and things, maybe you weren't, maybe you were disillusioning yourself about them, or these people were, pulling the wool over your eyes. But whatever way it was, it could have been a combination of both. You see things for what they are now, and that's changed your perspective on how you present yourself and how you feel about yourself and what you look for in your relationships. Now, when we go to your third house here, this is the house of Capricorn. So this is also a similar energy of Saturn, because Saturn rules Capricorn. So Capricorn is about, it's like restraint, restriction, discipline, more so. Discipline, hard work, fastidious, assiduous, like that type of energy where it's just grit, just grind nonstop until the job is done. And that's the energy that you give out in this area of your life. This is how you express yourself, all right? Or, the type of expression you respond to when it's brought to you is that of someone who's cool, collective, somebody who is, willing to put in the work. They're about their business. They're on their grind, entrepreneurial-minded, independent spirit, about making money. Those are the types of people that you may gravitate towards, or you may attract to you, right, at this time. Now, Pluto's there. Pluto's all about the struggle, the power struggle, all right, with maybe some of your lifestyle choices, since we're dealing with your third house. And so Pluto brings back those lifestyle choices you've made that maybe you didn't make a good decision on, or the universe wanted you to decide differently, or as a result of what appeared after you made a choice, now you may want to change things up. So I feel like with Pluto going direct on the 8th of October, This is another cycle because this also has to do with karma as well, but it's more so not karma, but reincarnation. And Saturn is karma. So the two are right next to each other. They go hand in hand. You don't have karma without reincarnation. You know, and you don't have reincarnation without karma. That's how I see it. So, you know, it's interesting that both these planets are going direct in your second and third houses. So this is about your, you know, your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, based on how you allow people to treat you, and you know, what it is that you acquire for yourself, and also your, you know, how you express yourself based on the lifestyle choices you make. Now, your fourth house here, we have Sag. There's nothing going on in this house, right? So this is about your personal emotions, your feelings. But what's opposing that is Mars. Now, Mars is in Gemini, and that's going retrograde on October 30th. So that energy could be opposing, because I do see here that your third house, you got Pluto going direct there. And so your 10th house with Mars, which is Gemini, your Gemini house, Mars is there. So Mars is not going to be as aggressive. Mars is about go, go, go. And it's going in retrograde on the 30th. Okay, another planet change. Now, when it goes in retrograde, Mars is going to slow down, right? It's going to be chilling. It's going to be on vacation. Like, Mars fights all the time. It's like, what am I fighting for? What am I defending? What am I standing up for? What cause? Okay, let's go. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Let's go. Well, when Mars is in retrograde, it's like recess. It's like, okay, time out, or Mars can rest up and recoup. You know, maybe he's injured and he needs to heal, so he's going to be, you know, not fighting for a while. And this is going to go on until January. I think Mars comes out of retrograde in January. So your 10th house, this is your private, I mean, your person, your public persona, right? How people see you, and even how you see yourself some, okay? But it also deals with career. So things may slow down in reference to if you work in communications, or if you work in, maybe if you work online, because, you know, communicating online is communication, you know, even though that is ruled by Uranus. But it's just a lower level, a lower octave of it. But it's still communication. It's still logic. It's still air energy. And Mars is there. So that energy may be slowing down a bit. Okay, where it was going really fast. You know, there could have been a lot of things popping off at your office or at your job. A lot of transition, a lot of change. That could be slowing down now. Okay. And so as a result, your personal life is going to probably cool off, because maybe a lot of you work a lot, or you're always out of, you know, doing things. And so I feel like it's going to start to balance out a bit. It might. But for some, it might be the opposite. We'll see. Right? Now, your 5th house here is where you got a lot of action going on. This is your Scorpio house. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's your Scorpio house. Now, there's a lot going on in Scorpio. Oh, my goodness. First of all, let's just talk about the South Node being there for the collective, right? Then, on October 24th, the sun moves into Scorpio. It will be officially Scorpio season. Then the next day, oh, wait, that's on the 24th. But on the 23rd, Venus moves into Scorpio. So we got the South Node going on. We got Venus moving into Scorpio on the 23rd. On the 24th, we have the sun moving into Scorpio. It's officially Scorpio season. Then, on the 25th, we have a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. We got 4 major planetary changes going on in your 5th house. This is the house of your inner child. This is the house of about your children. This is the house of childishness. This is the house of having fun, the house of release. You know, release, have fun. This is the house of quick money, gambling, casinos, lottery. Okay? It's the house of quick money, you know, flipping it, whatever you want to, however you want to describe it. Okay? This is the house of creativity. This is the house of theater, acting, right? What's going on in front of the camera, the cinema, right? And then Pisces, your first house is also the creative imagination behind the cinema, right? So these energies are going to be lit for you all. So if you work in these industries, it's going to be really dope, okay? There's going to be a lot that may come out in movies. Also, I think you guys maybe need to check out movies that are coming out. I don't know which ones, but you may want to check out any movies that come out between now and November 8th, okay? Check the movies out. There could be some hidden subliminal messages in there for you, okay? And even if you don't go to the movies, I feel like any movies that you're watching between now and November 8th and even a little after that, because that's the full moon eclipse in Taurus, I feel like you're going to pick up some type of messages. Also, connecting with friends, okay? You're going to be able to, I feel like you may be meeting people that you might vibe with. You may be meeting people who are also on their journey. I met a woman the other day. I was in the Uber, and we were, you know, the conversation just turned into us being in our position of manifesting for ourselves right now, and knowing that we've been, you know, blessed to have completed some karmic cycles, and as a result the universe is blessing us. So we just start kicking it on the blessings that we was receiving and talking about our gifts, and it was a dope conversation. So I feel like you're going to connect with people like that, whether these are already people you know, or you may just have random run-ins with people, like a Uber ride where you get into a conversation and you meet some amazing people and you hear some amazing stories, and it inspires you. For those of you who are doing any writing, I feel like, you know, this is a great time for you to get out and meet people. You're going to get great ideas. Anything that you that sparks creativity, because your 5th house is lit up, okay, with Scorpio energy. So for a lot of you, this could be spirit work, your spiritual work, occult work, for those of you who dive into that. You know, Leo is your creative center, you know, your unique individual way of expressing yourself, how you stand out, so to speak. So a lot of energy going on there. There's a lot of transformation since we're dealing with the Scorpio energy. Okay, so you guys are going through a major transformation. And, you know, Scorpios, the 8th house as well as Pluto is active and Mars is active. So the energies of of Scorpio are super active right now. Okay, Mars is going in retrograde on October 30th, and Pluto is coming out of retrograde on the 23rd. And again, all of these placements in Scorpio. So Scorpios, and then we're going into Scorpio season. So Scorpio season is going to be very active for you all, okay? Beautiful energy. I like it, okay? But, you know, of course, with Scorpio energy, pay attention to what's going on around you. Make sure you listen to your intuition, all right? The 6th house for you, that's your daily routines, your patterns, the things you do on a regular basis. We got Venus there. Now, I told you Venus is leaving Libra and going into Scorpio on the 23rd, but you're still dealing with some of these energies here in your 6th house. You know, you're looking at how to bring balance into your life in reference to the things that you do on a daily basis. I feel like a lot of you are like, okay, look, I want to be able to do A, B, C, and D. How do I balance it all? Or you're saying, hey, I'm doing A, B, C, and D, but you're realizing it's a lot to balance, and you may need to restructure things, right? So some of you are coming up with what you may need to do in reference to that. So it could be, you know, getting your money stacked up, because Venus rules money, okay? Some of you could be going into business partnerships with others, all right? Or, you know, you just being more in an energy or a spirit of collaboration is what I'm feeling too. A lot of you could be getting a lot more winks, or this is a very sexy energy right now, very sexy time. This is a really social time too. A lot of us are, you know, coming out of crazy situations, and it's time to get out there and have some fun, right? So this is the energy I feel we're in. And speaking of which, your 7th house is the next house we're talking about, and that's where Virgo is. Now, we have, what is this? This is where Mercury is. Okay, hello. Mercury in Virgo, Neptune in Pisces. Okay, Mercury is going direct on the 2nd. Now, it was just in retrograde in your house of partnerships of all kinds. So you could have been, you know, reminiscing about some situations and circumstances that you were in, where maybe, like I said in the beginning, things weren't really clear in the beginning, but once, you know, the relationship went on, whether it was work, friendship, love, or family. Once things unfolded, you started to see things for what they really were, right? And so I feel like this had a lot to do with that. A lot to do with that. So now moving forward here, it's like you're writing a new chapter. It's like Mercury is all about understanding things too, you know, and about the communication, whether it's verbal or nonverbal. You know, a lot of people forget nonverbal communication is communication. So a lot of that as well, as in reminiscing back. You don't have to hear it. You could look back in your mind and play things back without even listening. You know what I mean? And just watch you and this person's interactions. I do that a lot. You know, when I want to take my emotions out the situation. I play it back in my head. I turn off the sound. I don't hear any voices, but I just watch what went down. It's like I'm looking up, I'm floating above the room and looking down. It's deep, but that's what I do. And, you know, I listen without trying to pick up what I can without, you know, hearing anything. And so, I don't even know why I said that to you, but that message was for somebody. But I was just, you know, like I said, Mercury is about communication. So it's like just, you know, processing things. That's what I was talking about. Understanding things. Mercury is about understanding as well. Realization. Accepting the facts for what they are. Mercury doesn't deal with emotion. It deals with straight information. Straight information. You hurt my foot. There's no emotion in that, but yet that person could have really hurt your foot and it hurt like hell. But Mercury is just going to record it as you hurt my foot. It just deals with logic. So if you think about Mercury like that and you remove the emotion out of it, it may help you to basically understand what it's doing in your life. And you may pay attention to circumstances and situations here where you see it at play. But it's in your 7th house here, and this is where Virgo is. So Virgo is very analytical. So with Mercury there, you're definitely probably thinking about everything that went down. Like, yo, we used to do this together. We used to do that together. Or, okay, this person took me here. They showed me this. Or I did this for them. And then after that, we did this. Like, you're playing back a series of events for the circumstances and situations that you may have, you know, you may need to shed some light on. Now, we don't have anything in your 8th and 9th house, but when we get to your 10th house, when we were talking about, you know, Mercury being in retrograde in Gemini there, Mars being in retrograde on October 30th. I'm going to do a reading for everybody, for every sign for this, because Mars is going to be in retrograde here until the beginning of the year. So we're going to be dealing with this energy for a couple of months. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right. And I'll have that coming for you guys sometime between now and Halloween. Maybe the week after. We'll see. But it won't be any later than that. Now, your 11th house. This is your social house, okay? If you have a group of friends, it's like, what friend are you known as? You probably would be known as, let's see, this is your Taurus house. You probably be the one who's laid back, real chill. You know, you don't get upset all the time about everything. You know, you may be the one who's always looking to have for it to have fun, be peaceful. You may like to enjoy the indulgences in life. You may like a lot of money, a lot of nice things. Okay, that could be you, right? And maybe you like to hang out with people like that as well. Now, this is where the North Node is, all right? So we got the North Node here, and we got Uranus in retrograde here until January. Now, on November 8th, we got the lunar eclipse here. Now, interesting is 2 weeks prior, on the opposite polarity where Scorpio is, that's where the partial solar eclipse is. So we got a lot of powerful energy going on between Scorpio and Taurus. Okay? Your 11th house and your 5th house. Okay? The 5th house is short-term goals. The 11th house is long-term goals. The 5th house is, instant gratification. The 11th house is, hard work, time, effort, maturity, wisdom, like not necessarily wisdom, but maturity. The wisdom is Sagittarius. But maturity is Aquarius, right? Sometimes they have a symbol for Aquarius, not only the star, and not only the naked lady at the water, but also the old man is sometimes a symbol used for Aquarius, as in maturity, where Leo, the 5th house, that is what Leo rules. That 5th house talks about youth, child, the inner child in you. So we got these opposite polarities going on here, right? So there could be a level of maturity that's needed, or there is a level of maturity going on. There's transformation going on, all right? And then finally in your 12th house here, we got Chiron here, and we got Jupiter coming up in here on the 30th, and Jupiter's in retrograde. Now, this is going to be a flashback. This energy is going to be a flashback of the energy we were dealing with a couple of months ago, because Jupiter was already in retrograde in the 11th house, and then it moved into your first house. I'm sorry, it was already in retrograde in Aries, and then it moved into Pisces, and then it went back into, I'm sorry, shit. Scratch all that. Your 12th house is where Chiron is right now. It's in retrograde. That's Aries. Jupiter is moving back into this house on the 30th. Okay, so more activity going on the 30th. Mars is going in retrograde. Jupiter's already in retrograde, and it's going back into, actually it's going back into Pisces, forgive me. So Jupiter's going into your first house. So like a couple of months ago when it was in your first house in retrograde, you're still dealing with these energies. Jupiter retrograde, Neptune retrograde. So a few months back. So this is when the weather was warm, all right? So what was going on with you then in reference to, you know, how you were projecting yourself, how you were consciously putting yourself out there to the world, you know? So think about that, because that may be a repeat of that energy, right? And now we're in a new cycle. So it's like some of the things may be put back in front of you, and we're going to see if it's going to be a brand new cycle where you cut this out, or if it's going to be a brand new cycle where you pick these things back up and you start the new cycle when Pluto and Saturn go direct again, right? So this is what you got going on here. This is what I'm seeing for you. But pay attention to your dreams for sure, okay? As Jupiter moves out of your 12th house, because, you know, Jupiter rules the journey. So a lot of you maybe you were dreaming about going on trips, going on a journey. Maybe that's something that some of you want to do. Maybe you're keeping that to yourself as far as taking a trip. But I would definitely write down what's going on, because you got a lot of activity going on in your subconscious or unconscious mind. And that's the house you rule, okay? There's a lot of spiritual energy going on with you, Pisces. I swear I wish I knew somebody who was a Pisces sun or a Pisces ascendant. I probably do, but I just don't know that that's their placement. Man, I would love to chop it up with y'all. But with that being said, I won't keep you. Just wanted to give you a little bit about what I was looking at, you know, from what I see. You know, this is just my opinion and what I see of what's going on. If it resonates with you, cool. If it doesn't, it's all good. Check out some of the other readings I do on the channel. All right, and I have another channel if you're not into astrology and you just like readings. That channel is called The Many Styles of Tarot, and the link is in the box below. All right, you guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and thank you so much for checking out the channel, Pisces. I wish you guys the best, and I'll see you in the next reading. Later.